am 17. I was born on the 4th of December 1997 at 11 o'clock in the morning. That's how I looked. Maybe you can see it properly. I recently got an email from a lovely YouTube user called Cat. This is her username. She doesn't really have any YouTube videos at the moment, but subscribe her. She is lovely and she seems it on her email. She has requested me to create a video on my experience living with Aspergers Syndrome and being on the ADHD spectrum. She says that my videos are great, so thank you so much. Also, a big shout out to my best friend. Hey, it's Ella143. I will put her link down here as well as Kat's. Subscribe her. She's a great person. She does videos on beauty and challenges and things like that. Also, a big shout out to, about a few days ago I said on Instagram that I would shout out DIY Fucking. I also promised that I would shout out SmileMore, her YouTube channel. Watched a few of her videos. I just catch the YouTube names, channel names. And also the last but not least is, so anyway, let's get back to this video. Cat, lovely Cat, has requested me to create a video on my story having Aspergers Syndrome, which is on the autistic spectrum disorder. So, as a child first, in my life, the big, massive, unpredictable event was first when I was diagnosed with a condition which has a long and hard to pronounce galactosemia. So this means I cannot have milk and I cannot tolerate it at all. I don't have an enzyme which breaks down the sugar in milk. And everyone that has not got galactosemia has the enzyme. So when I was a child I kept throwing up, being sick, refusing feeding, and etc, and the doctor said if you never had brought Naomi to the hospital then she would have seriously got brain damage or died. So this was me as a child at 2 weeks old. So 2 months before I was born, my brother, who is now 20, was diagnosed with autism, and my parents were worried, concerned, because he was not developing like other 2-year-olds. He had unusual behaviour. I mean, 2-year-olds have tantrums. I know, I acknowledge that, but well, obviously I wasn't there, so I can't really explain, but my parents told me how he lashed out lots and had lots of meltdowns, screamed. It wasn't particularly like a normal average 2-year-old. So he had autism. So, I mean, I've always found it hard to live in a world where I fought and I tried so much, so hard. I fought to fit in. I thought I could never fit in. It was really hard. Everybody's different, I say each their own. But as a child, obviously, you don't really get that we have our differences. So I've always been this hyperactive, childlike girl. It's always been a part of me. I think it's always So always is going to be a part of me. So I went to a few nurseries and preschools like you usually do. But my first school that I went to was called Salisbury Church of England School. And me, who am I? I am the one in orange. I was one of the three kings. I didn't fit in, yet I stood out because... So before I tell you more about my experiences, I will tell you a couple of facts about myself. I have been to 3 primary schools and 3 high schools. 6 schools altogether. I am at college now studying health and social. I've always found it hard, whether, like, everyone does have bad times and good times, and will have hard times in their lives, but I'm not comparing my life to anybody's. I'm just saying that when you've lived with a brother who's awesome and you find out you've got Aspergers syndrome at 11 and ADHD, not 11, 12 and ADHD at 16, and you're born with a condition called galactosemia, which affects how you eat and learning difficulties. It is a hard life to take, because I never knew when someone meant something serious or not, or whether someone was being literal, whether something was a joke. I wondered why people were laughing at me all the time. I didn't say anything funny. And also, it's hard when you've got a brother older or younger than you that is, or a sister, this is for any of you guys out there, that has a diagnosis of a condition, a disability, because your parents, they do love you, but it feels as though they have to spend more time with their son or their daughter or other one, because the way they behave, the medication you have to take, the doctor's appointments, things like that, and they have to work around the other child, and I know how it feels trying to get full attention. It was hard because people did make fun of me for having a brother autism. That did make me feel very, very, very angry. I was very frustrated. But as much as I've just said about that, I love him to pieces. Didn't fit in. I always seemed to stand. I always did seem to stand out, and still to this day I do. Since primary school, I've always felt lonely. I had about 2 or 3 friends, or 2, 3 people, acquaintances, because I don't know what you can call them, but I played with them at playtime. I always said wrong things at wrong times. I remember that I was always so sensitive, and even though it was such a... Salisbury School was my favourite school I've been to, but still, when I'm still at my favourite places, I still have my dull moments. I still feel sensitive, because when you've got a communication difficulty, when you've got Asperger's, it is quite hard to make good and new friends. It's quite hard to know how to take things. I I never understood things straight away, and I was always distracted, like I am now. I should stop. But I've always found it hard to make new friends. I always felt anxious because of the girls that were at my schools. They were pretty. They had other friends, even if they weren't their real friends, which I wouldn't have known. They still played or sang together. They were dancing around the playground, and I was sometimes stood on my own thinking, why can't I do that? And I was always anxious or too nervous to ask questions, or even if I wasn't anxious, like I would just say something really ridiculous. And when I tried to help people, when I thought it was helping someone, it was always, there was always a negative outcome out of it. I always did something wrong whilst trying to help. So this is a school again, Samsby School, and I am the one that is not wearing a jumper this time. I am the girl that stood up, 2 pigtails in her hair. You cannot unsee me on this photograph. There. And when people said different things, I don't always understand them. I mean, I'm good at English now, but it took me a while to get the hang of metaphors or quotes, like, oh, it's not the end of the world. Or if I fell over, I heard a teacher say, oh, it's not the end of the world. I stood there and went, it's not the end of the world. I was thinking about the world ending. But why is she saying that? And I didn't always get it. I was always distracting others in class and doing stupid things. But I know that I am kind of a weird, strange, crazy person with a bubbly personality. But sometimes it showed too much anyway. And it's hard to know that people don't always take you seriously because of the way you are. They always suspected, everybody always suspected that there was something wrong with me. But I was only diagnosed with Aspergers Syndrome at the age of 12. So I always got put with different support workers. I didn't like change, I hated it. Obviously when you've got some sort of autism and you're on the spectrum, you hate change. And I couldn't quite come to terms with why others could just be so, they could talk to someone like that. It was just so easily done. But with me, I would try, but I'm always into games, still am. I had lots of issues that others did not understand. This is my second school, Brockleswood Community School, and it's me. Can you see it? This was me in year 6 at St. James School. Now, this was my last primary school I went to, and I did enjoy that. just like I did at Samsbury and Brockleswood. And well, St James was also a school where I did get picked on and laughed at. When I joined that school, I was nervous obviously, but I got used to moving to already 2 different schools. So I found not having many friends there was a bit strange, but not that strange because I didn't always have friends anyway. I said hello to everyone and everybody laughed. Well, Lisa, they shouted "Hiya, Naomi," and that was really happy. I was really happy. I was really pleased to see so many people smile at me and their faces were shining. And so I went there and sat next to a lovely girl. But I found it a bit confusing and very hard because everybody said hello and everybody seemed so nice, but a few weeks after I joined, only certain people still did say hello to me. Was that me? Or did my Aspergers show so they just stopped saying hello? They stopped talking to me. They started talking about me instead. I got laughed at. I liked being me. I liked doing strange. I wasn't really bad behaved. I just came across as oblivious to everything that was said or done that was maybe not as average as other people and their behaviour. I also had obsessions. I still do now. But I would go on about them, or I would show my habits. And also I loved helping, and in Brockleswood, in all my problem schools, and we got told to write about something and watch it at the same time. That was hard for me. It was 2 different things going on at the same time. Everyone else was working perfectly. I wondered how they were doing it so well. They weren't showing that they found it. I was always known as the goody two shoes, and if I did do something wrong, or if I said something that was particularly wrong, it wouldn't be wrong in my head. It just sounded wrong to everybody else because it offended somebody, but I never knew what I did or said. And in high school, I was always known as the best friend, as the popular girl's best friend. And I remember seeing other people shout, "Why are you friends with that freak?" So I have been bullied all through my life. I have got the mick took out of me quite often, and I have never been popular. But now I think about it, is you don't need to base your life on whether you're popular or whether you get liked by so many people. All you need to do is like yourself. Have only like 2, 3 or 1, even 1, like just a few friends around you are people to see, and when you're younger, that's when you have fun with more people. But I think that although it does still upset me that I was laughed at by more people than liked by, then although it still does upset me that I was laughed at by more people than liked by more people, it shouldn't really bother me that I wasn't really a popular person, because I'm still a human being, and I don't base myself around whether I'm liked or not. I do the things I like. So that's when I started majorly getting made fun of more, because I said some weird things. I came out with random weird noises, burped, farted, rhymed. I started to become really hyperactive, and my work wasn't the best, but I tried. I had an obsession with singing and dancing, and whenever I would do it, I'd get laughed at. I wondered why am I getting laughed at? But then I didn't really take notice. But whenever I'd sing, I'd get encouraged to do it again and again. People would know that, oh, it's Naomi, that weirdo. You just get took like that. But they would ask me too, and I'll take them by what they say. I'll sing to them, and that, now that I think about it, it really hurt me knowing, since I've moved from primary schools, it hurt me knowing that they laughed at me and they made fun of me. I wasn't good at singing at all. People thought I was strange. I mean, I know I'm strange, but that they actually thought that there was something particularly wrong with me. And I got a few certificates for being the most smiliest or happiest person, and I walked around school with a smile on my face. I did like a little bit of attention, but I didn't always ask for it. I was sometimes quiet, and I was quiet because I didn't want to say something stupid. I didn't want to do something wrong, and I was sometimes very loud, or sometimes just me, sometimes just Naomi, and it's just the way I was. And I was smiling, but I loved smiling. It was a bit therapeutic. But sitting on your own or sitting with other people, and I made fun of my own condition, galactosemia, in front of other people, and I was obsessed with Cam and Og. I was talking about her. I was playing kissy catch. I thought only me and a few others played that, but then I realised that people laughed at me, people made fun of me, and more people laughed at me than actually laughed with me. I made my own language up in class, and when they did the register in the morning, I said weird things back instead of just yes miss or hello. And I remember getting called names. I've been called all sorts of names under the sun, but now I can stick up for myself. I've become a stronger person, and thank you for those people that have made fun of me, because you've made me a stronger person. Without you, I wouldn't know what to say to people that say stuff now. I have, as well as Aspergers Syndrome, and galactosemia, I also have ADHD. And now it's hard to live a life where in this world you don't come across many people that don't understand you, and you do silly things that you regret. And people that are neurotypical, I know they do that anyway, but I am not violent. But as a child, poking someone in the eye with a sharp pencil just randomly, because maybe they were being annoying, and at 6 years old, at 6 years old isn't really gonna get you anywhere positive in life. And then growing up, being hyperactive and worrying a lot and stressing, being distracted, many people don't always know or understand. And well, I've only just got diagnosed with ADHD in 2014 when I was 16, but it affects your life. Thank you for watching. Sorry for it being just a little bit too long.